people aware of the issues. I'm not going to tell people you should be this or you should be that. I just want people to be told the truth. The main thing that got me stirred up was Bodmin Town Council putting on a history show for children about 3 years ago. And I took my kids in there for a look around. And knowing a little bit about Cornish history, I knew that there were certain things missing from the history show. And it was quite easy to work out what things were missing. And it was the recorded events that show the Anglo-Saxon stroke English in a bad light. So you had Athelstan portrayed as some worthy benefactor of Bodmin, when in actual fact he was a recognised ethnic cleanser and enslaver. William of Malmesbury got him down as cleansing Exeter of that filthy race, that's the Cornish. That's a famous quote, removed from the history of Athelstan. My sons never come home and discuss any hard hitting Cornish angle, the reasons why the language really declined, the reasons why Cornwall's now called a county when it was a duchy. Duchy history's never discussed. Cornish battles v English, never discussed. The reason for the mass emigrations, never discussed. Starvations, the reason for the Church of England coming here, never discussed. All they get is monarchy adulation, glorious English past, wonderful things the English have done throughout the world. You know, they're given the history and roots of another people. In a legal sense, it's a duchy that evolved from an earldom, that evolved from a kingdom. Now, when you write to government and say, look, why won't you recognise this constitutional relationship between Cornwall and England? They refuse to enter into dialogue. And yet it's an established fact. The duchy charters are there. The foreshore case of 1855 to 58 produced a situation where the duchy itself wrote its own history that said Cornwall is not a part of England. This is the Attorney General for Cornwall, Sir George Harrison, saying to the Crown, who were trying to impinge on duchy constitutional rights, and that was to claim the foreshore Cornwall, saying that Cornwall always has been, right up to the present day, separate from England. The charter, the various charters that were drawn up, actually said that the Cornish are subjects of the Duke, they owe full allegiance to the Duke, everything in Cornwall is owned by the Duke, the land, the minerals, the seabeds, the trees, everything underground is owned by the Duke. The Cornish own nothing. Anything that comes out of the ground is owned by the Duke. The Cornish will live on a subsistence wage. Everything above a subsistence wage is the Duke's and will be sent to London. So this went on for 650 years. Huge sums of money left Cornwall. Billions and billions. Immense. Cornwall, even prior to the formation and establishment of the duchy, was like a Brunei. Like a mini Brunei. Brunei is about the same size as Cornwall today. And all the profits and great wealth of Cornwall went to one man and one family. And this is why that family today own castles like Sandringham and Balmoral and all the other. I mean, Prince Charles has just bought his latest house on Duchy of Cornwall money. So these vast sums that are now invested in art and land and property and industrial conglomerates have all come off the backs of Cornish people over the centuries. Now I think it's time we had a look at this to see where this money's gone, to see if we can recover some of this money for Cornwall's benefit. We desperately need a university. We need investment in infrastructure. We need proper jobs here for Cornish people, not tourist jobs. English heritage is coming under the cosh lately because there's a number of us in Cornwall who are directing our attention to the activities of English heritage, specifically the misrepresentation of Cornish heritage sites as English. One example would be Tintagel Castle. The remains that are there now visible were built by French-speaking Normans to oversee the repression of Celtic-speaking Cornish people. There's no English element to it whatsoever. English heritage are a state arm of propaganda. They produced a book called British Battles in 1997, HarperCollins. In it, it's supposed to portray 1,000 years of British battles. So it gives you all the British battles that were fought on all the battles that were fought on British soil. And in there you will find battles between Normans and Saxons and Vikings and Saxons, and you'll find the Wars of the Roses and battles between Scots and English and the Civil War, Roundheads, all the usual sort of stuff. But the battles between the Cornish and the English are removed, deliberately removed. You thumb through the pages and they're all in chronological order, and where 1497 should be, for instance, or where 1549 should be, nothing. Now you see, these are some of the biggest battles to ever take place on British soil. Battles where almost on a Napoleonic scale, where like 40,000 soldiers took the field, thousands of people dead. You got skirmishes in that book where only a couple of dozen died, but you've got these huge battles. Now in 1497, the English fielded an army greater than that which was deployed to defeat the whole of France at Agincourt. And yet these great battles are removed. Now, what the hell is going on? Because all the papers, like the Morning News, West Britain, Cornish Guardian, and Cornishman, they're all owned by one concern, and that's Associated Newspapers, who actually own the Daily Mail. Now, the Daily Mail is a hard-line, right-wing newspaper. It's a fanatical, anti-European, pro-English nationalist mouthpiece. People don't realise it, but when they read these papers, they're not reading news. They're reading interpretations of news. And the Cornish Guardian and the West Britain and that follow suit. So all you get in there is unquestioning monarchy adulation. You get, especially in the Cornish Guardian, you get the people like me, other people who question the status quo. You get ridicule, you get abuse, you get racial stereotyping. The Cornish Guardian the other day took great pleasure in saying that the Cornish accent is the most derided in Britain. It's anybody who's got a Cornish accent is seen as thick. Nobody wants to be associated with a Cornish accent. They have pleasure in passing this on. A lot of Cornish people and incomers have got this feeling that Cornwall's a little bit different, but they just can't quite put their finger on it. And they can't put their finger on it because the reasons for these differences have been removed from the common pool of knowledge, deliberately. So there's a lot of people in Cornwall, and you get a lot of people writing newspapers and that, stating this and stating that. Cornwall's been a shire for 1,000 years. And really they don't know the facts. They're basing it on interpretations of Cornish history. But when you get back to root sources, you find that a lot of these assumptions and assertions are false. Cornish people want to be part of Europe. They want to be part of the big to recognise our position, our constitutional position, our indigenous heritage, our constitutional position, our indigenous heritage, our cultural heritage, our built heritage. It's a duty and a legal requirement under European law for the United Kingdom government to preserve this and to fund it. So it's got nothing to do with being against upcountry people and for Cornish people. It's about giving people that live here full access to the heritage and culture that is here, but is kept suppressed and kept deliberately suppressed. They love it. They move here because Cornwall is different. They want to immerse themselves into that difference.
Yeah.
They don't want it to be like an English county. I remember going to a Cornish festival over at Perranporth a couple of years ago, and me and my partner, we went for breakfast early in the morning, and we had a choice of two establishments. One of them was owned by a Cornish crowd in Perranporth, and they had outside the door full English breakfast. So I went in, sat down, I thought, well, it's only one there, we'll have to give it a go. The service was so bad, I didn't bother. So we left. We went around the corner, and there's a cafe open, Cornish flag outside. So I said to Mrs. Well, we'll have to go in here, have breakfast in here. Went in, and on the menu was a Cornish breakfast. Oggs, pudding, all this jazz, you know. So we thought, Christ almighty, this is unbelievable. Anyway, get talking to the woman. She just moved down that season from upcountry. She had just moved down to Paramore, took over this cafe, stuck a Cornish flag outside, laid on a Cornish breakfast. And that, to me, sums it up. The Cornish, a lot of them want to shun their roots because it's been disparaged and ridiculed. And the English people that move in, they've heard so much about Cornwall, they want to immerse themselves into it and be part of it.